What do I mean by cut indicators on timeline? Well, I don't mean cutting indicators out of the timeline. I think the idea is that besides having these little indicators here, that I wanted to have something visually on the timeline that shows where these were. Do I actually care about that? Um, huh. So what I'm thinking about now is that one, that's going to be a little difficult. It's going to be really busy. Like I've seen what this actually looks like with real data from, because this timeline component ends up showing like when there are silences, where chat messages are, highlighted segments, attention segments, like all of these different categories of things. And so there's a lot here. I could have some kind of like, the idea is to have like little handles that I could drag. But the issue is it's a little awkward, maybe not super useful. It might be better to focus on making the times in this UI editable. And so thus be able to like precisely set a timestamp. And then that way, like if I'm here and I'm like, okay, well the timeline segment starts here, right? But actually, like the highlighted segment starts here, but actually the important information starts right here at 21 seconds. I can fine tune this. Also worth noting, I can scroll here and get more precise. What if I had the ability to update, to like copy the current playhead into this value, the starter and value for one of the clips? Then I could really narrow in. Do I have arrow keys here? I don't. Okay, so change of plans. We're gonna do this a little bit differently because ultimately I want fine control. I think a better way of having fine control is allow ability to copy timeline playhead to, that's a word, right? I feel like that's a word that you use to describe like where the cursor or where the point in time where you're playing through a video. It's the playhead, right? Anyway, to clip selection as start or end. That's going to be fun. I'm going to need a little... I don't know what the UI is going to look like for that. And then add ability to scrub timeline with arrow keys. Yeah. So on that side of things, in video selection page, we have this use keyboard shortcuts hook. Oh, interesting. I can even support control. So this is just based on event.key. Open that. So what is event.key? What is the value for arrow? Arrow left, arrow right. Cool. So then I can add arrow left. Okay, sure. Yeah. Just write it for me, Copilot. Thank you. 5 seconds is way too much for this. Let's do like 250 milliseconds. And then let's do shift plus arrow left. That can be like a second at a time. Now, does that work? I don't know. Let's find out. So in the UI, if I arrow right, one, two, three, four. Yeah, that's a second. So then if I shift arrow left, no, that's not going a second at a time. Okay. Oh, I probably had control, but I didn't have shift. So, I'm not gonna do a bunch of ternaries. Let's do this a different way. So const key parts, the key parts of the key. Yeah, and then yeah, but you can do better because you can just do this, and then you can get rid of the do that, and then filter. Right, to eliminate any empty parts. And then we have a thing where you can have a key combination that's control shift enter or something. All right, so now if I do shift, yeah, 1 second at a time. And then if I do no key, okay, nice. Success. That was easy. Okay, so what is the UI gonna look like if I want to take this time from where the playhead is, the green line, and I want to put it in here. I want to sync it into there. What is the icon? There's going to be a clickable thing that's going to set that. Right, because there are two values. We want to be able to set either one. Maybe we'll add a set of icons here. Like, we have room. We can put 2 more icons. Yeah. Okay, well, so the icon set I'm using is this material symbols from Google. And what we need is some kind of copy. We have quiet music. Let me fix that. What do we think? Like, we need a pair of icons that represent the idea of copying or syncing. But like beginning and end. What if I look for start? Ooh. Line start diamond. Or just start. Start and end? Or is it end or stop? So I don't see the equivalent. So maybe it's stop. Start. I don't suppose if I look at this, it'll be like the the opposite is no such luck, huh? But it's really not stop. Or no, it would definitely be end, right? That feels like notch. Line start square. I might do these. Line start square and line end square. Yoink. Okay, so how's this gonna work? We have too many things open. Let's narrow this down. So in clip selection dialog, we're gonna add 2 more buttons. This is gonna be an icon button. On click, do something. Line start square. Title set as start. Copy from playhead. Yep. Correct. So now in the UI, we have new buttons. Well, at least we can hover over them and see what they're supposed to do. They're not exactly intuitive. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything we can do about that. Okay, so how do we make them do things? Huh. So we're going to need a function to be passed in to the component. It's going to do a thing. Yeah, so nothing in this component changes the contents of what's in clips, or rather, it doesn't change the contents of the objects inside of the clips array. Like in this case, we do generate a new array and send it to on reorder, but we don't modify the contents of the array, and I think we're going to stick with that. So we have a need for a on copy start time, on copy end time. Sure, I think that's fine. And we're using that ID. So now yeah, handle reorder takes the index, not the ID. Good. Okay. Okay. So something I should do is I should look at the clip selection dialog story, because it's all sorts of broken. Because I've not been keeping it up to date. So specifically, yeah, on start time, on end time, on export, and we don't need key. Okay, and then same thing again. Okay, so let's go visit the story for selected cuts dialog. Right, so we can see the component in isolation. Isn't that nice? Brainless says, I might just have uncovered a NeoVim bug. Oh, nice. I kind of miss Vim. On the other hand, I don't know. There's so much in VS Code that I've gotten used to. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Where there are other things out there, but I've gotten used to a certain... yeah, it's just a... I've gotten used to do things a certain way, and I don't want to have to change. And I don't want to have to try to adapt, the alternative thing to make it more like the thing that I'm used to. It's hmm, hmm, mixed feelings about that. So Braylon says, if I run check health while I'm on the check health view, NeoVim crashes, and it's consistent. Well, that is interesting. That is probably something that it would be. I'm sure people would appreciate. Maybe there's already an open bug about it. Maybe maybe not though. All right, so if we look at this though, and I just look at this view, here we go, and we look at our actions tab, and I click the button, things happen. So that makes sense. So now we need to integrate this into the video selection page, right? Because that's where we're managing the state of the video clips. And we do fortunately have the playhead time. So this is like pretty straightforward, right? Because we just need a function on what is it called? On copy start time. Just be like handle copy start time. Yeah, that's the convention, right? The prop the component accepts is called on something, and then the function that I write that handles an event that I use to pass as a callback to one of those props is called the handle thing. That's kind of the convention that I tend to do. So let's write one. So handle copy start time, this finds the clip with the ID, and then if it finds it, this is definitely not what we want to do. It must be a plugin issue as running NeoVim clean mode does not crash. Aha, interesting. So this is wrong. Something I should think about doing is that using some kind of immutable types library, because that's what I end up doing, right? I'm doing a lot of, I want to have an array where one element is replaced, but I don't want to mutate the array. I want to create a new array, or an an entity that represents this array of things. Okay, well anyway, I don't have that right now. Maybe I'll put that on the list of things to check out, think about in the project. We only have 9 things to do next, so let me add that as number 10. Look at immutable type libraries. All right. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. So what was it doing? Right. What we want to do, so we have an array of clips, or yeah, clips is the word that I used. And we want to replace one clip in particular with a new clip that is the exact same, except its start time is the current playhead time. I guess the easiest thing to do is to do set selected clips. We'll call this clips. Yeah. And this is going to be clips.map. right? So we take the existing list of clips and we map over each one. If the ID of this clip matches the ID that we were passed, then we copy the keys from clip, but we replace start with the playhead time. I could be fancy here. Is this... Let's do this. So we're going to do this. I'm going to say start or ends. Yeah, do that. And what this is going to do is this is going to return a function. Like so. And then start or end. Oops. Or end. There we go. There we go. So that saves us like a line or two of code. You don't like that? Oh, right, of course. Because this doesn't take an ID. This just takes start or end. This function takes an ID. Right, so we generate a function that is either for the start or the end. So we generate those functions there and pass them in. So what that should mean is if I go back to our video selection page and I say clip the first one, but actually I want to start the time here, which it's hard to see the playhead because we're not that far in, but I can scroll in, you can see a little bit more detail, and I click this button. There we go. If I advance the playhead slightly and then click this, so that would be an initial 250 milliseconds, which gets rounded. So there we go. So we get pretty precise, which is what I'm after. So I can really fine tune these clips. Great. And then if we say, okay, we want to go 10 seconds in, so that'll be like here. But actually, we want the end to be here. There you go. And then let's dial it back to 150 milliseconds. There we go. We got some rounding going on, I think. That's interesting. Huh. Why do we have a decimal for this one and not for this one? What if this is less than 10? Okay. So there's some logic in the formatting that rounds based on like width of characters or something. I don't know. Something like that. But that's what I'm after. So mission accomplished. Back to our oops. I just wanted to open the tile. Can I do that? Okay. Ability to copy. Hold on. Let's refresh this view. We got into a weird state. Ability to copy timeline playhead to clip selection as start or end. Check. Ability to scrub timeline with arrow keys. Double checked, right? Because we have both the fine, like quarter of a second at a time and a whole second with the shift and arrow keys. So this seems fine. I mean, there's definitely more that we could do, but let's hide all of these things. We're not dealing with those repos right now, and we have the issue already open, right? So I have a PR. This is kind of the work that was done prior to the stream, so yesterday. Some style things. I added the ability to add text to the icon buttons. I added the ability to click the time segment markers, all those sorts of things. right? So I think the first thing we can do, if we want to have some nice commits, we can try to have some nice commits. Right, add highlight animation for new elements. Yep. In our button, we adjusted the padding. In icon button, we fixed the styling for disabled buttons. Maybe that should actually be in the base button component, but that's a future us problem. What are some other standard? Yeah, so we improved the logic and the use keyboard shortcuts. Enhance keyboard shortcut handling to support multiple modifier keys. Yep. What did we change in timetable? Like, I'm just looking for the changes that we did that didn't have that, like, can be separate, and using those to create commits, right? So the changes that we made to timetable were really independent of any other changes here. Yeah, that is part of what happened here. So what I could do, if I just want to have like very fine-grained commits, is I could go here and right-click, and I think I can unstage those changes, right? And so now the changes are just to the buttons. And then the other changes to timetable were about the heading alignment. And I gotta say, it's almost too tempting to do it this way. You know, especially these smaller changes, Copilot's pretty good at coming up with commit messages. Ones that I don't hate. Let's see. I feel like, though, that a lot of the changes... yeah, like this one we can take because we just changed the cursor. Although I'm not going to change it, but it was talking about dragging. Dragging is not something we're doing on the timeline, but that's fine. All right, and I think everything else is kind of needs to go together. Unless I could definitely add like this. And well, yeah, there we go. What about time segment marker? I think this is something that is like an independent change, right? This is where we fixed it so that it's only clickable if we're holding shift, and it changes the cursor to indicate that it's clickable. Yep. And then at this point, this is mostly about copying the start and end times. Technically, this change, let's see if it's possible to copy this. I think this change in particular, if we stage this and look at what this is. This was the change to fix the issue where we were adding the same clip multiple times. So that could be a separate, yeah, there we go. And now I think we've distilled down to the one bit of functionality. There is one thing more mixed in here, which is changing the clip selection dialog from seconds to milliseconds. But the issue is that that would be, I mean, that's possible to extract out, I think. We would want to take this and this. Yeah, okay, let's do it. We've gone this far. Why not Go all the way. Just to see what that looks like. Right, so I don't think there are any other changes outside of this. Okay, so now if I generate this, format clip, start and end times, and adjust end time calculation, and use milliseconds instead of seconds. There we go. Okay, and that then leaves being able to copy start and end time functionality. From playhead. There we go. 12 commits from what we've done so far this morning. All right, and so that should wrap up this PR. All the things. And I've been enjoying seeing what Copilot does as a reviewer. It is some observations. Sometimes it actually does find relevant things, and I'm like, oh, whoops, I need to go back and change. Sometimes it finds things that are, it's just completely like, you can see where it's coming from, but it doesn't apply to the circumstance. Sometimes it does miss things. So it just, you know, there are things that in retrospect I was like, oh no, I didn't want that, and a human reviewer might have caught it. And then the other thing that I have going here that I don't know that I've shown on stream, I got chromatics UI tests going. Of course, this is less tests. I mean, they are tests in a way. They are kind of like the visual equivalent of snapshot tests, where it's like comparing how a component looks to what it looked like in a previous build. So you can see we added padding. So let's see, if we turn off the diff, we can see what it actually looks like. But yeah, so that is expected, and we can accept that. And so we can just like see how things have changed in the changes we've introduced, right? And we can, if I click deny, it will fail the build. So like I might say, oh, this is not acceptable, right? I can use this to like double check things, or to just be like, okay, yeah, these are the changes that I would expect to see, and accept. And you can see how this has changed. Like our data changed, so we had another segment here, so that's why that's different. And then the alignment of things is different because we're just taking up more space. So accept that. And that's one of the nice things of having Storybook set up, is that I get the ability to like see a diff of what's changed. And so you can see here, Copilot reviewed 6 out of 17 changed files. It didn't review these files because it's like, it's probably fine. Which, to be fair, it's probably fine. And then it didn't have enough confidence to really surface these items. There's like, use a TypeScript enum. No. The class names used in the button component should be consistent and follow the project naming convention. It doesn't know what Tailwind is. The class names used in the button component should be, same thing and the same thing. And it's good it wasn't confident, because that's fine. So we're just going to merge this PR, and we're going to be done with this. All right. Which means that, in progress 0. Excellent. So, we are almost at the point where this is going to actually come together. what we need to actually exercise this functionality end to end. So we've already in a past stream taken that video selection page component and embedded it inside of our front end admin UI, so that we can get to it. We can use that UI on a stream. We can see that. So now we have the ability to select clips, right? So the final thing we would need is the ability to click a button that will create episodes from the clips somehow, some way. And, send that to the API, which I guess I built that API off stream. So wait, right? Oh yeah. So we did the render job crate, binary crate, and then I don't know if we did this on stream, but I set up. I think I showed part of this earlier, like at the beginning of the stream, right? But render job .ts. Here we go. So here's our cloud development kit code, right? That is provisioning an ECS Fargate container, so a Docker container job definition that is going to run our render job crate, right? So talking about render job main.rs. So this guy, right? So I know I worked on this on stream. We actually had this running locally. I did make one change after that, which was I made it so that it takes multiple record IDs and it can process multiple episodes where each episode has a render list. And so this can download all the media files for all of the render lists, run the ffmpeg command to generate the output episode MP4s, and put them back into S3 and update the episode with the render URI, right? So that's all there, and we have the ability to invoke a job in AWS Batch to do that. And then the part that I showed at the beginning of the stream was the Python code, or whatever it was. The Python code that essentially runs the batch job. And so that's hooked up to an API endpoint, and that API endpoint can be invoked from our front end. So once we have the episodes updated with the clip list, the cut list, that's what the thing is called. Once we've updated the episodes with the cut list, we can invoke an API, pass the episodes, and do it. So, so what we need to do to actually make this so that I can actually use this tool again to make videos to get on YouTube. Well, there are a couple of steps. Let's see. So first, I'm going to take this out of the list of things to immediately do. I'm going to take this out of the list of things to immediately do. I'm going to take this out. We're gonna trim this down because the rule that I have imposed upon myself is I'm going to only keep up to 10 things in this list. So this is like the next things to do, as it says. So we don't need these things. So, oh, I did this. Make spacebar toggle video pause when not focused anywhere. Yeah, I did that. That's done. I did that as a side effect when I was playing with the, yeah, we did that, right? That's in, use keyboard shortcuts, space. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's check out main again and pull down those changes. All right. Add cut list render options to episode admin UI. I probably want to do that. Add ability to view section summaries in video editor. Yes, eventually. Add button to start job for cut in episodes list admin. So let's talk about the workflow. Let me let's run the front end. I'm surprised it didn't pop up a thing saying, hey, you want to open the browser? All right, let's see if we can log in. Yeah, it's a normal error. All right, dark mode, please. There we go. All right. So how I intend for this to work right now, or in the next steps that we have, right? So I have this editor button. So like if I look at this stream from the 8th, also I really need to go, let's do this first. So Twitch streams, oh wait, 1 second. So the last one that I imported was from 1.5. So it's been about a month since I've synced the streams that I've had with the streams that are in the tool. Now, one thing I do want to do, right? So we have the stream manager thing, right? Like so. One thing I do want to do is to be able to, like, when I, add a go, have some way of indicating that I'm going live, and then have it auto create the record for the stream, because it doesn't do that right now. So anyway, so 1.5. Go to Twitch streams, and then what I want to do is actually, hold on 1 second. Let's go back to streams. Let's clear the series. How many of these do I have? Okay, so the last thing I imported was the one on 1.5. I want to make sure there wasn't like something on 1.6 for the Minecraft stream. I'm trying to make sure that all the streams I do are in this data set. It's going to make things easier going forward. So after 1.5, so what I need to do is, that's not been a lot of streams has there. So 1.4, 1.5, and then, oh, look at that. Yeah, I didn't have any other streams besides the coding streams. Yeah, I've been kind of slacking. Work has been keeping me busy and kind of draining a lot of energy, and some other things going on, but it's okay. Gotta get through it. All right, so, and there's the stream that's happening right now, right? Yep. So then I can click import, and it thinks it worked. So if I go back to streams now and force a refresh, there we go. Awesome. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to demo something in particular, right? So kind of walking through, I guess I am demoing the workflow, right? So at least for now, how I want this to work. We get the stream. I would go in and there would be some stuff behind the scenes where I take the locally recorded videos and I push it into S3. But if we were to look at, let's say this stream from the 8th, and I click editor, I don't know if we're gonna have video. Okay, let's grab a different one then. Maybe this one. Maybe not. Was it? Okay, well, just imagine. Video clip has no duration. Oh no. What did I do? Okay, let's click this one. Should be fine. So we're in a state right now where there's a lot of inconsistent data, right? Because we have various processes that I've built that are ingesting the data from the video files that I'm uploading, and it's putting data in various places. And there's various states of the data being properly loaded, because this is a thing where the records have existed and the video records have existed on different timelines. But anyway, I'll eventually have to do some scripting to like go back and rerun like the analysis and loading stuff so that everything is in a consistent state. Trying to avoid saying the opposite of what I mean, right? Which would be an inconsistent state, but no, a consistent state. But anyway, that being said, so you can imagine like this UI. I guess if I did a build, what if I did npm run dev? I think, yeah, that actively does a build. There we go. Unresolved dependencies. That might be an issue. But anyway, so if I were to refresh this page now, that is an issue. Yay, I broke it. So this file, we're importing assets logo SVG, and Rollup doesn't know what to do about that. That's great. Where is our Rollup config? I don't suppose there's a Rollup plugin SVG. There are things sort of like that. Import SVG, import SVG images. Okay. Well, published a year ago. How are we treating this here? We're treating it like, well, obviously as a string. But what is the contents of that string? Is that like a data URL? I guess we still have Storybook up, right? We can see if I click clip and I inspect this, yeah, it turns it into a data URL of the SVG. For good or fill. Oh, that was the one I was just on. Try that again. Oh, this one. imports SVG files as base64 or as markup. So when you say base64, you mean yes. When was this updated? 6 years ago. You think it still works? Well, it has the benefit of being small, doesn't it? Shall we give it a try? All right, so oh, I lost my clipboard. Save dev. I guess I could do capital D, but I've already typed it. Okay, so then in our rollup config, yep. Does it work? Interesting. What if I give an actual, like, location? Yes, that's better. Here's a question. If I would have done this and not included this plugin, what would have happened? Also, does... Oh, cool. The question I was going to ask, what happens if I remove the plugin? Does the, like, reload the config? The answer seems to be yes. Okay, so now if I go back to here and I go to my front end, cool. And then if I shift, okay. If I shift click, things happen. It's a little broken. Yes. So our use of icons in the Glowing Telegram video editor is via importing material symbols. Which is fun. Yeah, index.css. So why aren't we having icons? Like, we should have imported that CSS. How about some console errors? Just WebSocket. Oh, here we go. Downloadable font rejected by sanitizer. What does it mean? Something fun to figure out. Anyway, I had a point, which I can't really demo because this isn't really working, but the idea would be you would select your clips, and for now, I will probably just do where a clip is, like one clip is one episode, right? Because I want to focus on the use case of making the videos for the VODs, right? So we're going to cut like from here where the silence ends to here where the silence starts. And then from here to here and here to here, or so over here somewhere. And then take that, click this export button, and that'll create 3 episodes from the 3 clips. And then the episode will be created with a cut list that has those selections. Then I can go to the admin for the episode and be like, go render it. And I'll go render it, make it a thing. And we still need to fix like the upload to YouTube. But those are the things that need to happen for this to work. And I'm going to take a break here, and I'll be back in a couple minutes, and we will figure this all out.